Hello everyone, welcome to SJ Learning's channel. In today's video, we are going to understand Section 8 of the Indian Evidence Act, which deals with motive, preparation, and conduct. This is a very important topic, so we need to understand it in a clear manner. Section 8 says that motive, preparation, and conduct are relevant when they help explain the main fact in issue. Now remember, these are not the crime itself, they are surrounding facts. But sometimes these surrounding facts help the court understand why the crime happened and how it is happened. In the criminal law, actions usually do not happen without reason. A person normally has some motive, they may make preparation and finally behaves in a particular manner before or after the act. Section 8 allows the court to consider these surrounding facts because they help in understanding the mental state of the accused. This section 8 becomes very important in cases where there is no direct eyewitness. In such cases, the court relies on circumstantial evidences. Motive, preparation, and conduct together form an important part of the chain of circumstances. For example, if there was a serious property dispute between two persons before a murder takes place, that property dispute becomes relevant as a motive. It explains the court why the accused might have committed the fact. It does not prove the crime by itself, but it supports the overall case. Now let us clearly understand what motive means. Motive is the reason behind an act. It answers one very simple question. Why did the accused commit this act? Motive relates to the mental background of a person. It is the driving force that pushes someone to do something. In criminal cases, motive becomes very important, especially when the case is based on circumstantial evidence. If there is no direct eyewitness, the court tries to understand whether the accused had any strong reason to commit the crime. A strong motive makes the prosecution story more believable and logical. However, we must remember one important thing here. Motive is not always necessary to prove a crime. If there is a clear and strong direct evidence, even absence of motive will not destroy the case. But when evidence is weak or indirect, motive becomes a supporting pillar. For example, suppose there was a long-standing enmity between two persons due to land dispute. Later, one of them is murdered. That earlier dispute becomes relevant as motive. It helps the court understand why the accused might have committed the crime. But at the same time, motive alone is not enough to convict a person. Just because someone had a reason to commit the crime does not mean he actually committed it. Motive only strengthens otherwise other evidences. It cannot replace proof. So remember this clearly. Motive explains the reason, it supports the case, but it does not prove guilt by itself. Now let us understand the second important concept under the section 8, that is preparation. Preparation means the steps taken before committing a crime. It shows that the person did not act suddenly or accidentally but made arrangements in advance. Preparation involves physical acts done to make the commission of the offense possible. It is now very important to understand the difference between intention and preparation. Intention is a mental decision, it exists in the mind, but preparation is when that intention starts taking physical form. When a person begins to arrange tools, weapons, or materials required for committing the crime, that is preparation. Preparation becomes relevant because it shows planning. It indicates that the act was deliberate. When preparation is proved along with the other evidence, it strengthens the prosecution's case by showing that the act was not accidental or impulsive. For example, If a person purchases poison 2 days before poisoning someone, that purchase becomes relevant. It shows preparation. Similarly, buying a knife before committing a murder or arranging a vehicle to escape may also amount to the preparation. However, just like motive, preparation alone cannot convict a person. Many people may buy a knife for ordinary purposes, so preparation must be connected with other strong evidence to establish guilt. So remember clearly, intention is mental, preparation is physical planning, and preparation strengthens the inference of a planned crime. Now let us move to the third important, that is concept under section 8, that is conduct. Conduct means the behavior of a person before or after the occurrence of the fact in issue. Section 8 makes such conduct relevant if it has a direct connection with the case. The behavior must influence or explain the main incident. Conduct can be of two types: conduct before the act or and conduct after the act. Conduct before the act may show intention or motive. For example, threatening someone before the incident may indicate hostility or planning. Conduct after the act may show consciousness of guilt or innocence. For example, running away from the place of occurrence immediately after the crime may suggest guilty behavior. Similarly, attempting to destroy evidence or hiding a weapon may also be relevant conduct. However, it is important to understand that not every behavior becomes relevant. The conduct must have a clear and logical connection with the case. Normal behavior unrelated to the crime cannot be considered under Section 8. For example, if a person absconds immediately after committing a crime, that conduct becomes relevant. But if a person simply travels for routine work unrelated to the incident, that is not relevant conduct. So remember this clearly: conduct reflects behavior. It may indicate guilt or innocence, but it must be directly connected to the case. Now it is important to clearly understand the difference between motive, preparation, and conduct because many of us confuse these three concepts. First one, motive is the reason behind the act. It answers the question, why was the act committed? It relates to the mental background of the accused. The second one, preparation. It refers to the steps taken before committing the act. It shows planning and readiness. It answers the question, how was the act planned? The third one is conduct. Conduct means the behavior before or after the act. It answers the question, how did the person behave connection with the act? So, motive explains the reason, preparation shows planning, and conduct reflects behavior. All three are different, but they are connected. Together, they help the court understand the complete background of the crime. For example, suppose there is a property dispute between A and B. The dispute becomes the motive. Then A purchases a knife before the incident. That becomes a preparation. After the incident, A runs away from the scene. That becomes the conduct. Individually, each of these facts may not be prove the crime, but when they are seen together, they form a logical chain that strengthens the prosecution case. So remember this clearly: motive means reason, preparation means planning, conduct means behavior. Now let us understand why section is extremely important, especially in cases based on circumstantial evidences. As we see in many criminal cases, there may not be any direct eyewitnesses. No one may have actually seen the crime being committed. In such situations, the court depends on surrounding circumstances to reach to a conclusion of the case. This is where Section 8 plays a vital role. Motive, preparation, and conduct together form important links in the chain of circumstances. When these links are properly connected, they help the court arrive at a logical and reasonable conclusion. However, we must clearly remember one principle: motive alone cannot convict a person, preparation alone cannot convict, conduct alone cannot convict. These facts must be supported by other reliable evidence. The chain of circumstances must be complete and consistent. For example, suppose the accused had earlier threatened the victim, that shows motive. Then he purchased a weapon, that shows preparation. After the incident, he was seen running away and hiding the weapon, that shows conduct. When all these three facts are combined with the medical and forensic evidence, they create a strong chain pointing towards the guilt. Courts carefully examine whether all the circumstances together form a complete chain without missing a link. If there is a break in the chain, the benefit goes to the accused. So, the final understanding of Section 8 is that it does not directly prove the crime, but it strengthens the overall case. It helps the courts understand the intention and mental backgrounds of the accused. In the next video, we will study how conspiracy evidence works under the Evidence Act. Thank you for watching and keep learning with SJ LearnX.